All right. I don't even know where to start with this one. I really don't. A little groggy here this morning. Post tee up podcast introduction. I don't even know how you, I don't even know what you call it, Samboners. And look, again, I'm just a Samboner here, making the best out of nothing. But, oh man, an unbelievable episode yesterday. Chopping it up with our good friends, Mr. Danny DiGiampietro and Mr. Joey DiNic, the first timer to the podcast world. Joey DiNic, absolutely crushing it. Like, only if we didn't have to stop the record button. And I guess we essentially didn't have to, but, you know, we have families, we have responsibilities, but it's typical how things work. You know, the 45 minutes to an hour where you just sit around after the podcast and it all comes out. The real truth comes out. Nah, it's either here or there. Nothing but a ton of fun chopping it up with our good friend Danny and now good friend Joey. And what I mean by that is, you know, it's unbelievable the fact that I can truly call these guys friends. You know, just looking back on 2019 when, you know, the collect six of us, six OGs started doing this Samboner thing before Instagram, before Facebook. I think I might have been the only guy that had a Facebook account, let alone Instagram account. But, you know, we had something that we started to develop over the years, and I don't know, organically just started to, you know, come out. Like, I don't know, we're Samboners. Like, we're Samboning. Take a look, take a bite. Like, this shit just happened. I can't even really explain it. The story changes every single day. But looking back 2019, you know, uncovering or identifying Angelo's coming in, replacing Sarcone's Deli, like that first Sambone that my brother dropped with the Phillies in the background. Like, it was just like too good to be true. And then next thing you know, we're on our quest to find the best fried uns, dropping a hammer down at Matt Marie's. And, you know, shout out to OG Drew, Mike, Fat Pat. Like, you know, looking back on just, you know, posting up with Kev, aka Fried Uns at the next at the Reading terminal. Just like, what are we doing? Just going to pop up our phone here and fucking hang out and eat sandwiches and yuck it up. And that's just exactly what we're doing, right? And that's what it's all about, man. So Samboner Nation, can't thank you enough. I say it all the time. Appreciate all the love and support. I would have thunk, fast forward 3-4 years, we'd be chopping it up with these guys. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, become very friendly with both, and just two unbelievable guys. Like, we left Angelo's yesterday, and all three of us were like, shit, man, we could have been doing this all day long. And hopefully there's more to come, because I really do think that you're in for a great listen. You know, the fact that, you know, we're able to capture not only Danny's story, but, you know, the DiNic family and their story, and just that rich history around, you know, such an iconic place here in the heart of Philadelphia, Center City. It means a lot, man. So we're going to continue to keep grinding. More to come with these guys. Just nothing but a ton of fun. But before we do that, I just want to take a quick shout out to some true friends of the Samboner show. Shout out to my good friend Adam Brown and his team over at the Philly and Burbs Compass. Just one of the, you know, true leaders in the real estate industry. I believe they were top producers, according to Philly Mag, top producers there in 2023. But this is just a very unique real estate team in terms of, you know, some of the other real estate agencies that you may have worked with. These guys are more of a boutique type agency, very hands-on, have a rich history of real estate, working in the industry. You know, whether you're a first-time buyer, or maybe you just hit the absolute lottery and you can afford a $5 or $10 million house. But you know, these guys have their pulse on the market, specifically here in the Montgomery County, Bucks County, Delaware County area. But, you know, if you look at the outskirts of some of these towns in Philadelphia, like Fishtown and Old City, and just some of these unique, just rundown areas that are now starting to really gain momentum and have an unbelievable presence here in Philadelphia. These guys have their pulse behind it. True Samboners at heart. I've got the opportunity to know Mr. Adam Brown for quite some time now. true family guy. His son, my son, played baseball together, and this guy he wears it on his sleeve, man. And I'm sure his team does too. And it's just cool to see, how much passion he has behind not only real estate, but just helping families, right? And kind of going that extra mile to help that family identify the perfect home. And again, whether you're a first-time buyer or just looking to upgrade, give the Philly and the Burbs team a good look, a good listen. And I can tell you right now, you're in great hands. So I do appreciate all the support there from the Philly and Burbs team. Another shout out to our good friends, our Ford's Irish Stout. Holy shit, man. Trevor and his team coming on board here and helping the Ford's Irish Stout team, a brand new Irish Stout that's just hit the market. I think it's only been like 4 months at this point. October 2023. I went down to a little activation party not too long ago. So I had my opportunity to finally, get my hands on some of this Forged Irish Stout. I got to tell you, it was very, very tasty. As my grandfather would like to say, very tasty, Mick. And it really was. It had a hint of chocolate, coffee. It's really tough to explain. I'm not a beer connoisseur. But at the end of the day, this is the kind of beer, only 4.2% in volume. This is the kind of beer that you could just sip on for days and days. And that's exactly what I did. I did it at the activation party, and we did it yesterday, chopping it up with Danny from Angelo's and Joey from DiNic's. Both those guys were sipping on some Ford's Irish Stout, and they had nothing but good things to say about it. And, this is one of those drinks that you got to keep your eye out for, because it's truly oh man, how do I describe it? Again, I'm no beer connoisseur, but this is a great Irish Stout. Shout out to Conor McGregor, who has really been the brand behind, or the face behind this brand. I believe they started developing this beer at Conor McGregor's pub in Dublin, the Black Forge Inn, I think I read. And right now, we're plugging along here on the East Coast. It's out in PA, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Maine. I believe it's in Rhode Island as well. So no better time right now to get your Forged Irish Stout game on as we start to approach March Madness, St. Patrick's Day. You absolutely got to love it. And last but not least, final shout out to our good friends at the original Fudge Kitchen, true believers in the Samboner show. Nothing but just love from the original Fudge Kitchen team. You know the deal by now. Shipped in fudge all over the country. Chocolate, vanilla, peanut butter. But, in a couple months from now, they're not going to need to ship it. You're going to be able to walk right down the street, hop on the jitney, and go grab yourself some saltwater taffy, some fudge. Nothing but a ton of love and support for everybody out there supporting the Samboner show. So, again, give the Philly and the Burbs team a good look. Keep drinking your Forged Irish Stout. Throw in a saltwater taffy while you're at it. But hope everybody enjoys the episode. I got a good feeling there's going to be more to come here, because the cat is kind of just out of the bag here. But Joey, you have so much potential, and you just absolutely love to see it. Can't wait to chop it up with you guys again. Hope everybody enjoys the listen. Get in the right lane. Take your time. You don't need to drive 85 miles an hour. We're in a rush. We're in a rush to go nowhere, people. Go in the right lane. Put your autopilot on, or whatever the fuck you call that. Drive 65 and give yourself a nice little listen. Good storytelling here. Hope it came through clean. Just scratching the surface here, Samboners. Love you all. Have a great day. Samboner out.
The Yamazaki 18.
Talk to us, Danny. What are we drinking, baby?
Oh, I don't know. The crew got it for me for Christmas. I've been waiting for a special occasion to open it, and I thought, what better? Do my guy Joey here and you? This is great.
Yeah, you've been sitting on this for a while now.
I've been sitting on it for a while. And I have refrained from drinking a little choke. Oh, yeah. I've refrained, but I'm coming out of retirement.
Let's start there.
Well, I couldn't be more honored to sit down with you fine gentlemen. Toast a glass. Mr. Danny from Angelo's. Joey DiNic from DiNic's. Salute. Keep on Samboner.
Good friends, good times. Always. Above all else.
Good.
That is absolutely
Listen, you
delicious.
gave me $3 scotch when I was there. That's why I wanted to open. He's like a connoisseur.
No, that's not exaggerating. My father's better than me on this subject.
Well, but you're a clone of your dad. You really are.
Is that a compliment?
It's a very much a compliment. Yes, he's as fanatical about the product as his father was, and that's saying something, if not more.
Damn, we just learned from watching you, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your dad,
Sure.
the legend himself.
Is he?
I'm gonna call him a legend. I call everybody a legend.
He's a good man.
Where did it all start?
Where did it all start? I'll give you a really abbreviated version. You ready? My great-grandfather came from Italy, opened a butcher shop, 7th and Reed. Well, initially, actually 8th and Reed, but moved to 7th and Reed. So this is the 19-teens. He opens a butcher shop. His son, my grandfather, and his 4 brothers, so there's 5 brothers, took over that butcher shop, 7th and Reed. In the back of the butcher shop, there was, you know all this stuff.
Yeah, I know. I love this. This is great. They're going to love this.
In the back of the butcher shop was a garage, which is pretty standard for South Philly. And they had an oven in the garage. So sometimes people for the holidays they would buy the meat and also have my uncles and my grandfather roast the meats. So they would do that. And then at some point, one of them in the 1950s said, why don't we're roasting all this meat and we have this meat. Why don't we just start slicing this, put a sandwich together, and we'll sell them out of the back of the garage and we'll open it up as a sandwich shop. So it was a butcher shop in the front, sandwich shop in the back. That's how the sandwich thing started. And then my father, he got involved a couple decades later. So this is like 75, 76. He was convinced. So at the time, this butcher shop, this was Nicolosi Brothers.
Okay.
We're Nicolosi, my father's cousin, Frankie DeClaudio. He convinced my dad. He said, that's why don't we open up a sandwich shop of our own. My dad was an electrician at the time. And they looked for a place together. And then their first place was 10th and Oregon. And that was the first DiNic. So it was DeClaudio, Nicolosi, that's DiNic. So that's basically where DiNic came from. And then they had 10th and Oregon, and then they opened up 10th and Reed, and then they opened up the Reading Terminal. And making this long story very short, at some point, my father and him, they just said, my father was running the Reading Terminal. Frankie was running 10th and Reed. 10th and Oregon closed because the neighborhood went to shit at that time. And my father said, well, why don't you just keep yours, 10th and Reed. I'll keep mine. And they kind of went their separate ways, and then we've been in the Reading Terminal ever since.
What year was that, Reading Terminal?
80? 81?
81. I mean, was that just potluck? Being able to just find that iconic location right there in the heart of the Reading Terminal?
No. Are you from this area?
I'm from the suburbs of Philadelphia, so like 10 miles north
When's
of
the
here.
first time you were in the Reading Terminal?
Oh, my God. I'd have to say probably 1985, 86.
Do you remember what it was like in the 80s?
It was nothing.
It was a shithole.
Yeah.
There was no air conditioning. There was no heat. My father wore layers in the winter. In the summertime, he would have customers that would just say, all right, I'll see you in the fall because it was too hot. So it rained inside the building. It was a different time and it was a different market. So it wasn't, I don't think it was a grand prize necessarily to land in the Reading Terminal at that time.
And you originally had a terrible spot.
We had a terrible spot. Back
Wait,
when,
so why was it a shithole? What was it? Just a big warehouse?
No, it was
an
an old train station, right?
The Reading Terminal has been a food market as you see it since it has existed. So from 1882 or whenever it was, the train ran above it. The Reading Terminal has always been a market. It was always essentially a grocery store for people riding the train. So it was always as you see it.
How about that? I didn't know that.
If you look at all the pictures of the market, you'll see there's hundreds of merchants, all these little stalls, meat piled up all over the place. It was a fantastic thing. But by the 80s, there was like a dozen merchants left. So the neighborhood was not wonderful. And but I think at the time, my dad, he didn't have too many options. Someone came to him though. The manager of the market at the time went to. Had my dad had their sandwich, DiNic sandwich, and then spoke to them, and he stalled it out. He said, "Why don't you open up a place in the Reading Terminal?" And they convinced him to.
How many other places were there when you guys came in?
I
don't recall.
I don't recall. So this was, like I said, this was like 80. I was born in 81, so I was a little young to remember this. But that being said, I think my dad told me at one point it was down to less than a dozen. So it was like there was no merchants left in the Reading Terminal. At one point, in fact, at one point, the merchants that were left, they were going to tear down the market before the convention center was built. So the market was owned by the Reading Railroad Company, and Reading Railroad Company wanted to get rid of it. They were going to sell it. They were going to tear it down. And at that point, the merchants actually had the opportunity to buy the Reading Terminal Market. So my dad was one of the few merchants that could have bought the market, but he had no money. And at the time, looking at it then, like, this is like an insane risk. So
was that, not to interrupt, was that pre-convention center?
Yeah. So but then that's right as they were talking about the possibility of who's going to save the market. Are we going to buy the market? What's going to happen here? Are they going to tear it down? The state went in, decided they were going to build the convention center, and the convention center bought the Reading Terminal. Oh. So the state owns the Reading Terminal Market, and so we're essentially connected to the convention center in that regard.
Nice.
Yeah. So you at the end of the day, you guys got to see it evolve from the very, very beginning to what it is today.
Yeah, it was gritty in the 80s. I kind of miss it.
It was so fun, though. I mean, the characters he can go through. Like I said, you could give him 10 hours to go through it, like Uncle Gussie, and just the glory days of it.
Yeah, so talk to us about
that. We would
that.
cut school and go there, and I grew up with his sister, so she worked there. It was just.
Well, I've had the fortunate to have Danny on the pod a couple of times. He talks nothing but highly about you.
He's got good taste.
Really, he does have good taste. So it's really cool to have you on, share some of these stories. But like, talk to us about like growing up in the '80s versus now, this modern day social media world. Has it had an impact on your business in I'm sure, a positive way? But you just mentioned like it was better back in the '80s. Because I always say to myself, like, I would have loved to raise my kids in the '80s and '90s without electronics. Yeah. But that said, there is something said about social media.
Well, I tell my kids, especially my son, I said, I wish I could come back to be 11 years old and just beat the brakes off you, man. You're so soft. You know what I mean? Like,
what I mean, dude.
Just, oh, my
they
God.
They are. They're out playing basketball in their Crocs. Like, what the fuck?
Out playing basketball. My kids just, that's all they do.
Well,
yeah.
So here's the question. If you could raise your kids in the exact same time period that you grew up, would you prefer to raise them in that time period?
I think so, yeah.
I believe so, yeah. I think it was a little bit more of a simple life. Now, granted, there were some harder times, I'm sure, financially.
Yeah.
It was a more simple approach to things, right?
And you could guard them. I mean, kids were easier to guard. Like now, you don't know who's coming in here. You don't know who your kids are talking to on the computer. Like I kid with my wife. My son's in there playing whatever he plays, and I'm like, "What's he playing with? Your fucking father? He's playing like I hear grown men coming out of the speaker."
Yeah. Don't even get me started. They got this Oculus thing now. This
thing.
And I put it on, and they fucking monkeys are starting to attack me. Like these little 8-year-old kids. I'm like, who is that?
I'm scared to death about this one, especially for my daughter. Like my son could fall down a flight of steps, and I'm like, walk it off, dude. Get up. Like my daughter, I'm so worried about her and the shaming that goes on. I mean, there was bullying going on in preschool. My wife was telling me, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, already? Like in preschool, there's already this shit going on. So,
did you guys grow up in this part of the city or
Jersey?
Jersey. You grew up in Jersey too.
Yeah, I was in Philly for a little while, and then Washington Township,
South Philly South.
Yeah.
South Philly South.
South Philly with Grant.
We're all Philadelphia sports fans, right?
So he grew up. How long did you know Marcel for?
Oh, forever. I knew Marcel since I was in like 8th grade.
Yeah, so they went to school together.
Ran with the same crowds.
A few years older than me, right? You're a few years older.
Yeah.
You're older than Marcel.
I'm older than Marcel too, yeah.
How many grades older were you?
I was 1 year older than Marcel.
So, yeah, my first really great memory of Danny is when I had that party at my house, remember? Remember that?
Yeah. You were in a big show. They broke the land.
That was like
I was Haddonfield.
I was
Haddonfield.
Haddonfield. My parents were at, I think, my sister's graduation in Florida, my other sister's graduation in Florida. And Marcella was put in charge of me, which is probably a mistake at that time. Yeah, I was a senior in high school. I had a massive party.
Massive.
And some guys managed to break a lamp that they shouldn't have broken. And Danny was sitting there the next day, and he said, "Come on, I'll take you to buy another one. We'll go find the same lamp somewhere." It's like, it's old. But the fact that he offered like that, you know, you were in your early 20s.
Probably, yeah.
So you guys have known each other from your childhood.
Long time.
Marcella, for sure. Yeah, my older sister and him.
And then I got in the bread business and immediately started to live. They were my first bread customer.
How about that? So you were serving rolls, compliments of Danny, or was it Sarcones?
No, it wasn't Sarcones.
Capolas.
Later. Capola. Wait, but you were.
I brought you Carangi.
You brought me Carangi. So Capola was our bakery. My grandfather used Capola. Capola, what was that? Where were they? 8th and Watkins?
8th and Watkins, yeah.
So they were our baker going back 50 years. And then the son of the original owner was just getting much older, and product was kind of slipping, and his heart wasn't in it anymore. And we reached out to Danny, and Danny had this, however you had the Carangi connection. I don't know.
I was already delivering bread. I was just started being a jobber.
Oh, so you were working for Carangi?
No. Jobbers, like it's
so a jobber is, and listen, I was in the heyday of jobber.
Jobber is actually a great job that nobody knows about.
I mean, listen, Joey will tell you, I lived a life. I worked about 4 hours a day. I got
Wait, what the fuck is a jobber?
So a jobber is, you got a restaurant, man.
Okay.
And you say to me, and I did business with Kasha, Carangi, Abruzzi, Sarcones. Right. I want a particular roll for a sandwich, or I have a restaurant, I want some table bread. And I would show you bread from different bakeries, and then you pick. And they would give me a wholesale price. Oh. And then I tacked on my commission on top of that.
You're a bread broker.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
He's
big business,
man. The fucking greatest job ever.
So, Joe, I mean, I did it out of my car for the first 3 years. So, and then I got them. I landed them. And then I got my foot in the door at the Reading Terminal. And that's how I got.
Has it always been this way? Like back in, I grew up in 80. I was born in 80. But like the bread, has it always been like a wide landscape of just different suppliers?
It used to be so many more.
There was more.
Truth about how we think about bread in the city.
Danny thinks you could bake the same bread here out in California.
You could.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you cannot.
Yeah, there's great bakers.
There's no way.
The whole water thing.
Yeah, the water thing.
There's great bakers everywhere in the world.
Yeah, everywhere.
It's the baker. It's the man or woman.
But you cannot match an Aversa or a Sarcones in California. I'm talking identically the same exact taste, texture, fluffiness, whatever you want to call it.
You can match whatever you want anyway. You can match whatever you want.
Then why are we doing it?
Because people don't have good taste.
Yeah. Well, now, see, now.
He's the baker, man. You got to
Joey and I, and if I may interject, we've been, the conversation about bread for Joey and I and his father have had for probably 20 years.
Easily.
Where, and it's changing now. People are starting to see it. Before people, and I steal a lot of my really smart sounding sayings that make me sound good from him and his father.
I love it.
Most of my father.
Yeah, mostly his father. But his father said something one time that was true. Is like for the longest time, people looked at bread as the vehicle to get the protein to your mouth, and really never gave it any thought. Right? It was just a way to get the pork to your mouth, or the beef, or the cheesesteak, or whatever, to you without giving it any thought. Whereas now you kind of see, and we were at the forefront of it, and Joey's a fanatic about bread. Trust me, I know. I got graded on my bread every day.
I love it.
As soon as it came in, I loved it.
Sorry.
But no. Listen, I loved it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go back to them. I would go back 15 years any day of the week to be back.
Some say you have a good thing going, Dan.
No, I do have a good thing going, but but all that led into all that bullshit. Here's my saying. Everybody congratulates the pregnant girl. They don't know how many times she got fucked. And Joey can speak to that. Right, Joe?
I'm happily married, Dan.
We'll leave it at that.
No, I don't mean
because I have so many kids.
No, it's like everybody thinks, congratulations, but they don't know how many times, you had to do it to get pregnant. So I paid my dues.
I'm an overnight success after 30 years of hard work. Yeah.
Right. So now people are starting to realize that, wait a minute, bread isn't just something you don't even put no thought about it and see how cheap I can buy it to make my sandwich. It's more of, it's its own, it's the canvas that everything goes on. You know what I mean? So now it's starting to turn, but this is something we've been talking about forever.
Yeah. And while I think everything you said is 100% correct, I think you would also agree that something happened, change took place, that going back before us, before we were around, and this is from stories from my dad and older people like this, my uncles, that even though it's true, I don't think people hadn't necessarily put any thought into it. I think one of the reasons they didn't have to put any thought into it for a long time, because in the 50s, in the 40s, and the 50s, and the 60s,
and the 70s,
bakers were actually bakers.
Yeah. There was a lot of good bread.
They were all artisans.
Yeah.
They were all. If you went into business as a baker, it meant you baked. It meant you had shit hours. It meant you were there all night. It is not completely uncommon, and I certainly won't mention anyone, but it's not completely uncommon now for a baker, or I want to be a baker, I want to have a bakery, and then maybe you'll do it for a year, but then you don't actually want to be there baking all night. You want to own a bakery. So are you a baker? You own a bakery, you know how to bake, but you're not baking bread. There was a time, you get my point. There was a time that if you were a baker, you baked bread.
And even on that, like when I talked to old man Sarcone,
he's a baker.
Like when I would talk to big Lou Sarcone, like in that time, and my wife tells me the stories, and Lewis tells me the stories, like the crew that they had were all bakers. They were men who took pride in their craft, even though they didn't own the bakery. The guys took pride in their craft back then. That's all gone now. Like everybody kind of, I shouldn't say that. I mean, I'm lucky. I got a great crew there.
100%.
But, you know, most people are just looking to punch a ticket and don't give a goddamn, you know, how the product comes out.
It's different than it was. You can't even necessarily expect a person. There was a time when if you couldn't get a job, you starved. And if you didn't work hard enough on a job, that you were going to be replaced, and there was a line of people. There was a line of men behind you to take that job. So with those type of incentives, you were going to work like your life kind of depended on it, because your life and your family's life 100%. Kind of did. So it's hard to expect that to be replicated now from every worker. And there's a lot, like you said, I have a great crew too. But across the board, when you look at every business, it's not going to be like it was multiple decades ago. The incentives just aren't there. Interesting.
So even still, I won't mention again, no names, but there was a very successful merchant in the Reading terminal who would, like Tommy and Joey's spot in the morning was the spot where everybody met.
Wow.
I would drive Joey crazy. Joey never wanted that coffee. His father would charge a quarter for a cup of coffee. Joey would fuck because everybody be sitting around, and Joey's like,
I'm trying to cook.
But yeah. Joey's all work. He's all business, right? And he is. He's a fanatic. He always has been. He always will be, right? But everybody met at DiNic's counter, whether it was in the old spot, whether it was in the new spot, and everything happened there. Now, Tommy and Joey would be in there at 4:30 in the morning, tying work. And this older, successful man who was more of a hands-off approach to his business, and I say that nicely, right? Would say to Tommy, like, Tommy and Joey, why are you guys getting up at 3:30 in the morning? You schleb in here in the market. Nobody's in here. You could pay somebody $5 an hour to tie that work. And Tommy would always turn to him and go, what if I love doing this?
Right.
Like, what if I love doing this?
Right.
And that's where they kind of, that's what I mean about them. Like,
no, and that's the sentiment that you shared last time we talked about. And again, it seems like true inspiration behind your work ethic and the amount of work you put into your product.
They taught me so much.
Yeah, but you were, let's face it, I mean, you were just built this way. I mean, you were always a worker. Always.
Well, that's how your dad talked me into getting composed.
But Danny,
like, you're a bull.
Did you feel like you snuck in here? I feel like you snuck right in here. This was prior to Angelo Sarcone's Deli. My brother identified this place back in 2019 when we started this Samboner's thing. And out of nowhere, he sent us a video of a cheesesteak that he at time thought your name was Angelo and the roll was Sarcone's and Cooper Sharp cheese. What the fuck is Cooper Sharp cheese? Like, you snuck in out of nowhere here. And here we are 4 or 5 years later.
But this is the thing, the overnight success thing. I mean, you put it. What was the market you were in? Cowtown. Yeah. So he had a little sandwich shop, and what were you serving there?
Cheesesteaks and sausage sandwiches.
This is 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So he had his hands in that. Weren't you cooking in Florida?
Cooked in Florida, yeah.
And then the bakery, for how long did you have?
7 years.
DiGiampietro Dante's.
Bankrupt. If it wasn't for them, I would have been out of business. I mean, how many times did I just borrow 10 grand because they were shutting off the gas and they would take it off my bread bill? And
so I mean, I totally get what you're saying about just sneaking in here, but what's behind it?
Oh, sure.
Florida, Cowtown.
But that's what nobody knows.
7 years in a bakery. Haddonfield. How long were you in Haddonfield?
Haddonfield was 5 years. And not only that, is on the truck, and that's why I missed the truck so much, is that I had access to guys like them. And I knew you could say it was apparent. Like the destination spots had a few things in common. They were using good bread, and the owners were there, and they gave a shit. You know what I mean? And nobody, listen, I won't get sentimental. I lost my father at a young age. His father was really instrumental in me. Like, he was just different than the men. Like, my uncles were great men, honest men, hardworking men. But, you know, Burley, Tommy was just always so cool. Like, I remember one time something happened where he could have been so mad. I wanted to go fucking beat the guy up for him. And he was just like, who gives a shit? Just the most beautiful human being in the world. I mean, just the most beautiful human being in the world.
He's a thinking man.
And he's just a good dude. Like he would never give you advice that would like help him out or make you feel like shit. Like he's always, whoever he's talking to, it don't matter if it's me, you, like if he just met you right now, the advice he's going to give you is from his heart, and he really wants the best for you as the best way he can do it. You know what I mean? The way he can tell it.
Outside of food and family, what was he most passionate about?
He has actually pretty simple tastes in that regard. I mean, first of all, my entire life he worked 6 days, so it was work, and then he was off Sundays, and Sundays he smokes pipe, still smokes pipe, and
whistling,
smokes pipe, has a scotch, reads a lot, big reader. So, yeah, I mean, look, those are the things. Not many hobbies, if that's the kind of thing you're asking.
Yeah, no, I think I was going to try to tie that into, you know, like what has Philadelphia, how has Philadelphia sports impacted your business? I know it's impacted your business dramatically, but, you know, it's always cool, right? Again, like when you're watching like the Philadelphia Eagles play on Monday Night Football and they do a flyover of the city and then they do like a quick shot right into the Reading Terminal and they plant the video camera right on DiNic's, right? Like this is an iconic place to get a sandwich in the heart of Philadelphia. Like how cool is that?
It is. It's the most iconic.
It's awesome. But Danny probably knows this. This is blasphemy. Are you ready?
Yeah.
For me and my dad. Although some of it's not completely my fault. We are almost completely indifferent about sports in Philly.
Okay.
My dad is the same way.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons is I think I love baseball. I've always loved baseball. I grew up playing it. Is that ever since, like every summer, every Saturday, through college, post college, I go to bed at 8 o'clock. I'm up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
So can't watch baseball games at night. Sundays, we were open Sundays. I usually worked. So sports, like, I don't know, just like there's not really any time.
Right. But there's still
so indifference, not necessarily
an appreciation for it.
Of course.
Right.
Of course. Yeah.
Right.
But I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to find time for.
Look.
I'm telling you, him and his father, it's DiNic's and family, and that's pretty much their lives.
DiNic's. No, look, there's something to be said about the work that's put in behind the scenes. Now he happens to share that with us from a day-to-day basis, coming in
that's
early.
Why he's a star.
Yeah, but it's so cool just to be sitting down with you guys. Obviously.
Well, it's like I told you, there's not a shortcut they would ever take. There's nothing like I saw the work that went into what they do, and it's not glorious. It's not something to be like, I want to go.
But how do you guys manage these establishments with such a tight amount of real estate, especially you? Got this little cube. Like
I think Danny's probably going to be on the same page as me here, which is that I know this sounds ridiculous, but it's something that I've returned to because I kind of think it's true. Like I think DiNic's is probably good because I think it sucks. Meaning, like
I know.
I'm not like, oh, this is special. Look what we do.
Yeah,
We're doing another.
No.
I know, but this is so common, and particularly in South Philly. It's like, oh, this is this family recipe. Nobody can. My dad always said, "There's no secrets. There's just good basics. There's anybody can go pick up a cookbook. Like you're not going to do anything that somebody else hasn't figured out before. We've been cooking for thousands of years. Like you're not really going to be original. You're going to do something right, or you're going to do it not right. Most people choose to not do something right.
Or they don't know they're not doing it right.
So, like, I could say, like, yeah, I think in many areas I'm doing things, and my dad was doing things the right way. Like, there's a proper way to cook something.
Sure.
But it's never resting on your laurels. It's never like, oh, this is good. This is the way my grandfather did it. And my dad was not like this either. I learned it from him. This is the way my grandfather did it. This is the way we do it. So this is how I do it. No, it's like every day, and I'm still like this. I've been literally doing this since I was 5. I've been there every day, full-time, post-college, so we're talking 20 years now. And it's always like, how can this be better? And often it's like, I don't know how to make it better, which sucks, which means I have to just continue to be not satisfied with it. But, and this was the conversations, my dad only retired like 7 years ago. So we spent, 20 years having these conversations. Well, like, should we try it like this? And it was like all these stupid things, like, oh, let's lower the temperature by 5 degrees. Let's add a little bit more water. Let's have the water here instead of there, so on and so forth. All these details.
Yeah.
That probably most people, like, didn't manifest itself in any way by the time somebody else ate the product. They didn't know, like, we were experimenting necessarily. But we would know. And, like, it's always, like, is there a better way? Can this be better? And I'm still like that, and I'm still not satisfied.
He's never satisfied.
Well, consistency is
you're
everything.
not either.
No, never. I hate it.
It's hard, right? And you got to trust your employees, like you said, because consistency is everything.
Well, it's not just trusting employees. It's just like it can always be better. It can always, no matter what it is, even if it's a fucking French fry, it can always be better. And the torture of it is not being able to get it. You know what I mean?
I struggle with that, though. Like, I always said that I've asked you that question, and I've talked to my friends about this, right? You've had the traditional cheesesteak, the long lost art of this, the traditional cheesesteak with American cheese, little ketchup, mustard, whatever the fuck you want to put on it. And now this whole Sarcone seeded roll with the Cooper Sharp cheese, the grade 4 ribeye, whatever the fuck you're using. But, like, how are you going to top all that now? There's no way. What is out there that you're missing? I don't think there is.
There's always a way. Well, that's the torture of it. Is like, even if there is a way, I would never believe there's not.
And that's absolutely
that's exactly right.
You're in that business.
That's the torture of it. So again, not circling back, and I've told the story many times. I'm sure I've told it to you on the air. But going back to his father.
Yep.
They're the Travel Channel Best Sandwich in America. The final 3 finalists. And this is one of the most beautiful things. I mean, anyway.
Do I know this?
Yeah, I mean, you know the story. It's the final episode, and they got you. Your father's there with you, and you're camera shy. You can see you stand there. And the 2 other finalists, one was from Chicago. I think they both might have been from Chicago. And they go to the first ones, and they're like, "Are you the best sandwich in America?" And they're like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Yeah, we're the best." And they go to the other guy, "Yeah," and he's flexing, and he's doing all that. And they go to Tommy. And Tommy's like, "I don't know if we're the best, but we try our best." I mean, what more can you ask for right there? I mean, it's just, that sums everything up right there. I mean, his father had so much impact on my life. Just with the whole not looking at reviews. Remember when I first started? He's like, "Danny, I've been in business 50 years. I never see one review. What are you looking at reviews for? What do you need them people to tell you what you're doing? You're in your kitchen." I'm like,
yeah.
Boom. I haven't looked at a review in 10 years, except for the ones people point out to me. They're like, "Look what this guy wrote. You suck."
Oh, it's funny you say that, because I went out to a place yesterday in Delaware County.
I deboned it, seasoned, and dyed it for you.
The best chicken cutlets in all of Delco, they say. The guy doesn't have an Instagram. And guess what? He don't need it, right? So, like, the power of social media, within. But at the end of the day, like,
but then who's,
you got the right
and Joe, you could speak on this, because you and I talked about this for many, many, many years. Who's to say who's the best?
No, I know.
You know what I mean? It's
you.
And it's like everything is got to be ranked.
No, but you have to understand something. We live in a very competitive city.
Oh, I know.
Right? People want to embrace that.
Yes, I know, it's true. It's true. But, like, even the best sandwich thing, like, you know that, like
oh, it
tortured me because, I mean,
he didn't learn it.
Like, I know, like you do. This is good for business. All right, money's useful, so it's great. But, like, I almost wish the show was called Adam Richman's favorite sandwich in the country. Like, all right, I could get on board with being someone's favorite sandwich, but, like, the subjective nature of this, especially as you get towards the top, right? Like, let's just say the people that are doing things right. When you get towards the top where people are doing it right, then it's like this is about personal preferences to a large extent. Again, in the category where people are doing things right. But if somebody doesn't love roast pork sandwiches, but they come to my place and they eat a roast pork and they say, yeah, I don't really like it, but I don't really like roast pork. Well, like, your judgment's useful.
Right,
It's useless on this.
Right.
But you see things like that all the time.
I remember when, and then the influx of business that hit you. I was their bread guy. I mean, it was just
I mean, it was useful.
I forget when I called Joe. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was after Portnoy. It was before that in Hatfield. I'm like, Joey, we had something, an event happening where we were, and I was like, Joey, how the fuck did you deal with it? He's like, Dan, it just becomes the new norm.
Yeah,
and that was some of the greatest advice I ever got. It's like you're going to work through it. You'll figure it out, and then it becomes the new norm. And he was right. Like, everything becomes the new norm.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of why we started what we started, right? It wasn't like we're just the average Joe, right? And at the end of the day, all we're trying to do is support you and bring kind of light to it, showcase it. Right?
But you got to be honest at the same time.
And we are.
Yeah.
We are, right? Like, I get a lot of grief where, we put Tommy DiNic on the top 10 list, and people say, that's not top 10 opera reports. I disagree. I've had nothing but great experiences there, but everybody have their own right to their own opinion, and that's where the whole embrace the debate topic comes in. And we live in this very competitive city where people not only want to talk about sport, they want to compete over food, right? That helps you guys.
Yeah, although I do want to say that if even though I just spent a lot of time saying that I think I suck, if you objectively think that roast pork sandwiches, because there's not that many people doing good roast pork sandwiches,
right?
If you think we're not in the top 10, you're kind of just
you're out of your mind. You're out of your mind.
Like, all right, fine. You prefer John's roast pork. All right, fine.
And I'll tell you,
they're pretty close.
John's roast pork makes a better cheesesteak.
There's somebody who say that clearly has no idea what you're talking about. But I think your lack of social media awareness, really. Who's that? Jared, when did you get back?
Jared, do you want
none of your awareness, your
interest.
Being out there feeds into that a little bit because people only know what they see. The guy who probably say you're not in the top 10 probably never had your fucking sandwich.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So it wasn't like my face.
Yeah, but like, okay, so how do you guys? So let's segue into this. Like, how do you guys deal with the whole like tourist trap? Right, that's a tourist trap. Tony's and Luke's, Pat's and Gino's.
Well, I'm getting it now too.
You're getting it now?
And you're going to get more and more. I'll tell you exactly what happened with me, which was really incredible. So we're going back 20 plus years, right? And this is when food forums started, just e-goal it. These food forums just started popping up online, or I just caught wind of them. And then, like, of course, like I'm young and I want to see like what people are saying about my dad's business. So you start searching it. And it's all like really, really positive stuff. Like, oh, this is where locals go. This is and people that know, and so they go to the right terminal, to Nick's. And not to say that we were the only ones, of course, but people were saying that about us.
Right.
And then we're on. Fast forward quite a few years. Do Man versus Food. Do get the best sandwich thing with Adam Richmond, and then like you suddenly look and say, oh, we're tourist trap. So the very same place that was for locals finds success, and now it's a tourist trap. Look, this is the same story as your favorite punk band becomes really famous. Like whoever it is, like, oh, I love Green Day, and now Green Day is really famous. So like they're sellouts. Like you're the same. I'm the same. I got this. I was trying to be successful.
Like at the Nix's counter, do you want them to card everybody to make sure they have a Pennsylvania license to serve there? Like, what do you serve who shows up?
What you said to me about pizza though? Pizza is the word. Danny has it worse with pizza. People think pizza is going to cure cancer.
Like when people line up out here, it makes
pizza.
Me nervous.
They expect so much.
Like, yeah, man, we're not fucking curing cancer in here. It's just pizza. Like it's just pizza.
What's your favorite pizza in the city?
I'm not a snob, but listen, I eat Elio still. My favorite pizza. So do I.
We all do.
Granulated garlic, crushed red pepper, and tons of.
But you said it last time. If Philadelphia has a play here, they're going to become another pizza city.
Flour, sauce, and cheese. It's like kind of like
but still. Like same thing with the cheesesteak too. Like at least a roast pork, you got to roast it nice and everything. Listen, everybody.
But you can fuck up a cheesesteak.
I mean, yes, you can fuck up a cheesesteak. But I tell people, and you and I have talked about this. And you said that you were like, I said to Joey, Joe, anybody, you're breaking my balls about something. I'm like, Joe, you know, anybody can cook a cheesesteak. He's like, no shit.
But can anybody cook a brisket?
No.
Hell no.
No, that's the thing.
No, but forget. Look, here's the thing, though. This is the challenge. It's a challenge for you. A challenge for me. Now these days, it's more of a challenge for you. But you know, like, and this isn't a knock at all. Just like objectively trying to look at it. The original Pizzeria, the 40 pizza a day model. So, you know, it's cool what he did. He made a really good pizza, and he made 40 pizzas a day. But here's the reality. It still takes knowledge. I'm not taking anything away from it. If Danny wanted to make 40 cheesesteaks, and I wanted to make 40 roast pork sandwiches, and this ties to an earlier thing that we were saying, I can make 40 pork sandwiches that are better than the sandwiches that I serve. Because I'm making 40 frigging sandwiches. Even if we said 100, I'm making 100. The challenge is, how do you make 1,000 like that? So it doesn't matter that a cheesesteak is not haute cuisine, that it's not that you're not doing sophisticated French cooking or whatever you want to talk about. How do you do that 1,000 times?
And what we used to say, like Joe Betty ain't got fucking kids to feed either. So remember we would say that too. Yeah, you want me to make 40 pizzas? I can make 40 good pizzas, but my fucking kids are going to starve.
Yeah, I mean, I could sit there with every sandwich, you know, and
I love that. I love. Listen, and you always, Joe, tell them about your retirement. I mean, I haven't talked to you about it in forever.
What's my retirement?
Where one day you were just Dad, you probably forgot about it.
I still know, because I still talk about it with people. I say I want to retire young. I would like to retire when I'm 50. Well, what do you want to do? I said, I'll probably open a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
And of course, then they just look at me.
I love it.
Well, you know, what are you talking about? Well, I would do a sandwich shop where the idea is that I don't really have to make money anymore. I want to be in the black, but the idea is I can do it. I can open when I want to open. I can do it exactly the way I want. I can sell as many as I want to sell. And the goal would be, you know, to make the best sandwich that I could possibly make. It would be everything. It would be more in line with what he's doing here. The dream would be to bake the bread, you know, maybe get one whole pig a day. And I break down an entire pig, and I'm using different parts of the
dreaming to work.
I'd be a customer for life.
Like one pig a day.
Yeah, but you're dreaming to work your ass off.
No, really.
What do you mean?
Working your ass off is
You
trying to
work
sell.
your ass off.
How many sandwiches? He's thinking you're talking 1,000 sandwiches.
No, I'm saying do it, and if I
break even.
Yeah,
real estate,
or I could pay for.
Money's got nothing to do with it.
No, absolutely.
That's the point.
Yeah, money's got nothing to do with it.
I don't want to lose money, but like it's not.
He's got to feed his soul. He's got to feed his soul.
Yeah. So that's the other
sandwiches are your soul.
That's my retirement plan. I want to retire, and I want to open just a little bake shop, make like 100 loaves in the morning.
Yeah, don't listen to Danny though. The thing about Danny is because in like a year's time, it would be world famous. It would be quadruple.
No.
It would be 10x in size.
You said it.
Listen,
you want to die right here. I know you do.
I do. Well, I went my dying right on the 18th of Pine Valley.
Danny's deep dark secret is he actually loves people and customers.
So
when people come in, they're like, "Hey, don't you have this?" He wants to satisfy them.
Yeah, I hate saying no,
which is beautiful. I have less of a problem saying no historically.
Well, I mean, only because I love this shit.
Yeah, but you do have to be careful now, right? Because there's so many people rolling their fucking phones anymore. If they give you you don't want that. You want to protect your brand, and that's why you continue to be consistent.
Yeah, listen, I mean, look, I've learned, and it took me a long time, but I just don't give a fuck. Like, really, I don't care who you share your bed with, who you vote for.
Yep.
You know what I mean? All that shit, who you pray to.
Yep.
Leave me alone. I swear to God, I'll leave you alone. If you don't like me, that's kind of your fucking problem. I'm having fun living my life, being myself. I don't listen to outside noise. I don't give a fuck what people say about me. And it's opened up so much. Like, meditate. Joey, I meditate.
You meditate?
I do. My kids laugh at me because
a little mindfulness for Danny.
Listen,
how about yoga? Have you done yoga yet?
No.
I just started doing a little yoga action.
I'm going to try, but I try to, when I take my kids to school, I try to make them laugh. My whole goal is to, and you know, I am a morning person above all else. I mean, I wake up and I am up. I'm ready for the day.
I hear you.
I mean, I'm ready for the day. But I try to make sure my kids are in a really good mood and laughing as I drop them off to school. So I want to set the tone. And that's what I try to do here. That's what I try to do in my life. So now I started this thing where my kids fucking hate it. But I listen to daily affirmations on my way to work, right? And I'll be like, the lady will say it twice and then you repeat it. She's like, you are worthy of all the universe has to offer you. And then I make my kids do it. And my kids are like, Dad, you're a kook. Dad, you're a kook. But I will tell you this. On the days that I take them to school and we do the affirmations, they come back and report that they had fantastic days.
Love it.
So, listen, I'm a big believer. Like, I used to be a real asshole. I was a total asshole.
When were you an asshole?
Like when I was younger. You know what I mean?
We all were.
An asshole. But when I realized that, and a lot of it has to do with your dad, really, was what you put out there is what comes back to you. And it's true. You know what I mean? Like, not every minute's going to be great, but it's how you handle both the good and the bad that says who you are. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's all in how you react to shit. So instead of like a guy says something nasty about me, oh, you motherfucker. No, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
That guy ain't coming to my house for Thanksgiving. I don't give a fuck about that guy. And I would tell him, like, people who are nasty to me, who hate me online or whatever, and I tell them, I guarantee you, if you and I sat down at a bar with a bottle of scotch, we'd leave fucking best friends. I'll tell you that.
100%.
So I just don't listen to the shit. I'd rather get along with everybody. I don't want to fight with nobody. I want to raise my kids that way too. Although it's hard on my wife because she is violence is her number one. Like soon as something ain't right, violence. And so it's kind of a yin and yang.
How would you say things are now versus they were 3 years ago when shit hit the fucking fan?
I mean,
things are a little bit better.
Certainly better than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty low bar there.
Yeah. How did you guys get through it?
We were closed for 3 months, which was frankly great. Thank God I could afford it. So I appreciate that. I had a.
Luckily, I gave him good stock advice. So yeah, I'm sure he has. Why would you listen to a guy who cooks cheesesteaks?
I just kept it in there.
Because you're an entrepreneur. I listen to you in a heartbeat.
Once a month I look. I'm down $45,000 to $48,000, whatever it is. It's like,
if I told you what my unrealized gains were, and my wife was
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Begging me to sell it. And I was like, I was on Zillow. I swear, on my father, on my children, looking at private islands. That's how rich I was going to be. Meanwhile, I lost everything. God, I mean, I still own it.
I listened to you at a time that I was making no money.
Sorry, my bad.
So you
but you did almost ruin my life.
Double pandemic.
But I did.
You made my life.
So I don't know. Anyway, to answer you, I had a son. March 8th. I had my fourth son. March 8th. Yep. March 15th, we shut down. That's when everything went crazy. 2020. So it was kind of nice. My last son, my last kid, I got to be home with for a few months, which was really nice. I mean, I was worried because we didn't know shit.
Yeah.
We didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then as things cleared up, went back to work. 2020 was a bust. It was I think it was in the red or break even at best. 2021 was not good. 2022 a little bit better. 23 was almost normal. Now that's pretty normal-ish.
Yeah.
It feels different. The market feels different.
Who lives this legacy on when you start your little 50 sandwich a day sandwich shop?
That's a good question. I don't know. My dad, as much as he put me to work, but he always encouraged me to do. He didn't discourage me from doing something else.
Sure.
That was my calling. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with my kids. I kind of want to. It's like there's a line you have to toe, right? If you, I'll tell you what happened with me. What happened with me is because even though I could have done whatever my father would have been okay with me doing whatever I wanted to do. Because I spent my life there, working there, in the back of my head, it was always like, I'm going to end up doing this.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't try quite hard enough as a student. Maybe I didn't try quite hard enough to find something else for myself because it's always like, I'm going to end up at DiNic's. Point being, it's a fine line. If I want my kids to, you know, do something beyond DiNic's, then I would encourage them to do it. On the other hand, if I don't have them work there, it will hurt their work ethic. If I don't have them work there and they do end up wanting to work there, then they're going to be behind. In my case, because I was always there, by the time I was 18, I could essentially, my dad could go on vacation.
Yeah.
Because I could run the business.
Yeah.
I was asking,
Not too often.
what does it look like beyond?
Well, you did have your skin at Capitol Grill for a little while there.
Yeah. I watched Cocktail one too many times. I thought I could be a bartender, so I worked at the Capitol Grill for 3 months, bar backing, and turns out if you only work for your father in your life, you can't then work for somebody else. You can't have somebody else.
Don't work.
My father can tell me what to do anytime he wants still, and I'll listen to him. Somebody else, it doesn't really.
I say it all the time. The only reason I hate business, I have no urge to be a businessman. I just have a severe problem with the art.
Yeah.
And it's the honest God truth.
Yeah.
But how about you? I asked the same question. Like, you know, when you finally go sail into the sunset, like, where's Angelo's? Like, your son? You want your son to get into this business?
I begged them not to go over there. I begged them. I said, listen, it'll be here if you want it. Please don't go into this business because you got to love it. You've got to love this. There's no other way to do it right.
It's in his blood.
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't think my kids got my work ethic.
Mike Tyson was, I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast. I don't know. I think it was Rogan podcast, and he was talking about his son, his teenage son, that came to him and said, "Dad, I want to box. I want to be a boxer." And Tyson he starts laughing and talking to Rogan. He's laughing. He said, I just couldn't stop laughing. I'm laughing at my son's face. He's saying, you want to be a boxer? He said, you go to private school. You want to fight guys like me when I was young? You can't compete in that world. What are you even talking about? So I mean, I'm not comparing. I'm not making. It's not a perfect analogy between this and boxing. Obviously, you get the point.
Yeah, no, I know the point. But it takes sacrifice. It takes sacrifice of missing family events. About, like I said, my kids are going to be 12 and 13 for the first 9 years of their life before I got Jared. I was a myth. I'm like, who's this guy, daddy, you talk about? That's all I did. Joey can tell you at the bakery, I worked 24 hours a day, slept on flour bags. I would roll in there, literally no sleep. I never slept.
Making nothing.
Making absolutely nothing. But it was the best thing that ever happened to me. Failing was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Yeah, 100%.
Because it makes you appreciate everything more. And then going into it, my kids ain't cut out for this. My kids can't take criticism. They can't.
Do you think that's a product of just kind of what we talked about at the beginning? Like
the generation.
It's
a different generation. You got it. Listen, it takes, and I don't mean to enjoy it.
No, man.
But it takes a certain kind of, that's why I give respect. You'll never hear me talk shit about any other restaurant or any other anything. Like anybody who goes into this business and is in it for the long haul and has done it for a long time, man, they got some balls. They got some scars. They sacrificed, man.
This is the thing, right? Remember the Teddy Roosevelt quote where he talks about the man in the arena?
Man in the arena.
You know, this is people. There's people that just don't give a shit about what they're doing, and it's just about the bottom line. And it's so fine. I don't have to respect them. And there's plenty of those out there. But when you can see, and you can often see, then it's not this. Whether it's a little sandwich shop or a little BYOB, whatever it is, and then somebody, some critic, whether it's just some guy on Yelp or someone writing for a paper, and they just tear them apart. What are you doing? Who are you? When are you putting yourself out there to be judged in that fashion? And I'm not saying there's nowhere that these places can't be judged. They can mess up and they can be judged, and you know, you put yourself out there in business, and then I mean, it's kind of a fair trade. You want us to buy your product, then maybe we have to judge you a little bit. But sometimes, I don't know, people want to just tear other people down. You know,
well, that's the generation. This generation is just tear it down. But again, going back to your father, was what he said to me about I mentioned the other day about when I first went. I think I had just got Cowtown and I was doing the bread and I was cooking all day, and I was like, oh my God, I forget what it was, 60 hours or 80 hours. We used to work 3 hours a day and then go golfing all fucking day long. And I'm like, man, I put in like 60 hours, Tom. And he's like, Danny, you get paid by the hour? And I said, no. And he said, well, stop counting your hours. They mean nothing.
Good line.
Like you're in business for yourself.
Always open, baby.
That's it. Like,
Always open.
That's what it is. So, it's tough. I mean, it's fun. Like people think it's, and listen, it is fun. I gotta admit, but I love it. I would do this for free. Literally, I would.
Yeah.
Like my wife tells people even at the house, like they'll say, "Oh, where's your husband?" Like if a contractor comes over, it's the guy he's out playing. I'm like, "Oh, he golfs in the winter." I'm like, no, he's at work. Like he loves it.
No,
that
you guys
much.
are cut from the same cloth. You really are.
So-
Well, and you know what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, I've been doing for free, and it's the most fun 4 years I've ever had in my
Fuck it.
life.
But then
You love
listen,
I do love
and then
it. But
all of a sudden,
Money,
yeah, but that's the thing. All of a sudden, it does. When you ain't thinking about it or worrying about it, about the money and everything, and you're just pouring your heart into something that you love. In my case, anyway. It just all flipped, and then all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, holy shit, we're making money. It's like the weirdest thing. When I stopped caring about money is when I made money. So that's the thing. Like, and again, it goes back to the you're so lucky. Don't talk to me about luck. Do not talk to me about luck. That's some of the worst fucking luck you guys have too. Everybody, it's not all great. It's not you just open up and we're open and you're making a great sandwich or a great pizza or that people like. There's so much more that goes into it. And Joe, you can attest to this. And now I know, since I've been off the truck, I understand what it's like to the business part of being in business, whatever business you're in. I can speak to food and you can speak to this. That's the easy part. Like your dad showed me how to do accounts, South Philly accounting. Here's what you took in. Here's what you spent. The rest is yours. And oh, by the way, put some off for the IRS at the end of the year so you don't have a terrible tax bill. I never listened to them about that. But it's no, I'm cool with the IRS now. Believe me. Well, every time I think I'm cool with them. It's the managing of people that is the hardest part of being in business. It's the managing of personalities is the hard, and that's what I've learned now of having a bigger staff. Like before, like when you and your father, it was you, your father, Marcel, Uncle Gussie, and Joanne, right? And then as you get bigger and you got to take on more people, it becomes a whole different ballgame because now you've got to depend on people to carry on what you love to do and the product you love to serve. But then you're going to deal with their bullshit too. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but when the counter girl can't find a babysitter, that's now my problem. When the guy can't get off cocaine or stop drinking and doesn't show up to work, that's now my problem.
Yeah.
And then the guy who sees the other guy who might be making more than him, who doesn't pull his weight, and that's now my problem. So it's the managing of the personalities that I found is the hardest part of being in business. The business part is easy. You just find a guy like Jared to add everything up, you're good.
I don't think finding a guy like Jared's that easy.
I was going to say, you got a guy like Jared?
I got to save myself a lot of
I guess
trouble.
fucking guy would be lost without Jared.
It's not the word. It's not the word. But they've been
You lucked out with him, man.
And listen, it was all by dumb luck. He just had a Flyers hat on with his little scrawny mullet. I was like, yeah, I need a counter guy. Come on in. And then little did I know, for over a year, we sat here and
Wait. Just can we get this straight? Did his brother, me and Dave send him over here?
no, Dave sent me to his father on JFK. They were closing that. And the father was like, give my son a job. And I looked at him and he had a Flyers hat on. I was like, fuck it. I need a counter, kid. You're hired. And another, the Nicolosis, beautiful family, Braunsteins, I hold equally in high regard. They did a hell of a job, that Mr. and Mrs. Brown. And
they're good guys.
Listen, before it gets lost in all of this, Seal deserves her props too.
That's my mother.
My God, they're the most beautiful human beings you could ever imagine. They really are. There's nothing false about them. There's nothing materialistic about them. They're just beautiful fucking people.
You gotta stop.
No, I do. I know. It probably comes up,
man.
but
the reason you're here is because of him. Honestly,
I do, and the reason I'm here is because of them.
100%.
And that's 100% true, because it was just I wouldn't trade it for the world.
We all feed off each other, you know.
Yeah, and it was just so much fun. I mean, that we could tell you stories of.
Is there a I assume there's a mutual appreciation and love across the board. And again, I don't want to like shout out like the John's Roast Porks and the Tony Luke's of the world, but I assume you guys are kind of a cult. No,
I mean, like, look,
I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here.
Tony Luke, I see he's been to my store a couple times, and he's wanted to take a picture, and he's really nice. Seemed always really.
But even the newer kids on the block, like Angelo Pizza, who else is this? Drawing some blanks here, but like anybody that wants to give it their college try, you have to come in there and say, "Hey, go for it."
Oh, I tell them all the time.
I'll help you.
Danny, I think we're different in this regard, in this respect. Although I could learn something from Danny. Danny is like more like a jazz musician. He can improvise. He can he can be all over the place. He can talk to people. I'm like the most regimented person you'll ever meet, and I don't particularly want to change, which is probably part of my problem. But I wake up at 3 o'clock. I go to work. I want to go home generally at the same time every day. I go home. I do my thing at home, and I go to bed at 8 o'clock. I don't go out. Yeah. Like I don't. Or maybe my wife gets a babysitter and we go out to dinner every couple of weeks. Fine, but like I don't. That's it. Like if somebody wants me to do something like on a work night,
it's never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen.
And even like I haven't been in your shop in a long time, but Joey has this little cubby hole where the ovens are, and he kind of sits back there and roasts his meat. He does his thing. He's
everything. I like everything laid out in front of me. I don't like surprises.
Could you work under his conditions? Could Angelo's Pizza be right if you flip flop? Could you do that?
Yeah, well, him and I could work together.
No, I'm saying could you have Angelo's Pizzeria right in the heart of Reading Terminal?
Danny could be okay with that. Danny could do anything.
I believe I could do anything. I mean, I would look forward to the challenge.
A lot.
I don't know. I'll be honest. I do not know how Danny does. I can't wrap my brain around what Danny does here, and this is a compliment for the record. I don't know. Yeah, I struggle. I make 6 sandwiches, and again, I think they're often crap. So like I'm trying. Like how many things do you have here?
No, we don't.
Well,
I mean,
still, but
just cutlets on Thursdays.
But Dan, fine. Pizza, hoagies.
I have good people.
Cheesesteaks, cutlets. I know, but even like I can't even wrap my brain around thinking about how I'm going to make all those products really do, and you do. So this is a great.
Good people.
I understand, but like you've effectively designed it to be that way. I could decide that the Knicks is going to we're going to do chicken cutlets and hoagies. We're going to figure it out, and then we'll get good people, right? But I can't wrap my brain around doing it, and you have.
I just jump in.
You just jump in, and that's
I'm
where
not a thinker,
and that's where your ability to improvise. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, and I think
that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, improvise.
I would love to someday do something with Joey. We've talked about it.
I
gotta ask, how's your pizza game? Because your pizza game was phenomenal there.
Pretty good. Still going.
Yeah, it's still.
Yeah.
Working hard.
So the one thing I miss most about being on the truck is really like interacting with everybody every day. Like I loved going into the Reading terminal. I would stay way longer than welcome at the terminal.
No, that's not possible.
I would hang out and bullshit.
We'd go to the beer garden. What was the beer garden?
We would have deep conversations, especially I would sit in with your father when people bring the politics into it would be something. We would talk about from food to music to just everything. It was the prime time of my life.
I don't think it gets any better than a Reading terminal. It doesn't get any better than a Reading terminal.
Go upstairs?
No, it don't.
It really doesn't. I mean, and the fact that he was saying about like he's probably one of 5, 6 establishments in there until like now there's what 50, 60.
They've been 70. There forever. And doing it the right way.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying to you.
Like they could have taken shortcuts once they hit.
I think that would drive you crazy.
Who?
You. Like I'm in the open air every day.
Oh no, I would love it.
You think so? I don't think you would.
Oh, no,
I don't think
you would.
I don't think you would. You after a while you'd be like, Jesus
No, I'm done.
Where are you gonna go?
Well, I do it right now. Everybody stares at me with the hungry eyes. They act like they see us all working our balls off, and they act like we're just standing around. Like, we're trying. Did you find it, Joe?
Yeah, but where are you gonna go?
Jack. Where the fuck do you keep coming from?
Working.
Where do I have to go pick these sandwiches up from?
Oh shit! What time is it?
3-5.
Huh?
Close at 4. So I'm gonna have to just do my orders and then I'll go pick them
It's
up.
right there. It's right.
And then I'll go get my car and then I'll come back.
No, I'll get them on my way out.
You're gonna have time. They close at 4.
Just send somebody to go get them. It's Cafe Club right there on A Street.
I really don't have anyone I can send. I'll go get them. That's fine. But
And then you're gonna run them back here.
I can if you want me to.
Yeah, probably.
You need me to go?
No,
I'll do it for you.
my wife loves the Vietnamese hoagies over there.
What's the place called?
Cafe Club.
Quam?
Yeah, it's CYONG. They know. Just say it's 10 Vietnamese
Chicken.
Yeah,
Vietnamese hoagies.
and bring cash.
10?
They're so fucking
Banh mi.
good.
They use sometimes hoagie roll?
Yeah.
Yeah. Place just Amber just opened up. Chad Rosenthal just opened up the
Oh
place.
my god,
Banh
they're
mi.
so good. My wife, for the longest time, she'd be telling me
Healthy.
about.
They're healthy.
Yeah, very.
Quam?
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, that one.
Alright.
Right there. You go in this little thing.
I gotta pay
we'll
cash.
Oh yeah. There are people after my own heart. So my wife would tell me about Vietnamese hoagies all the time. Now, when me and my wife got together, she worked at the bakery, and she would bring home these hoagies, and she's like, "You got to try these Vietnamese hoagies." I'm like, what the fuck? I want a Vietnamese. I've never heard of a Vietnamese hoagie. What is a Vietnamese hoagie? And no, I'll eat an Italian hoagie if I want to. Hoagie. And then one time I tried it. It's like the best fucking sandwich there is, man.
Hey, there's 4 of you. You eat 10 hoagies?
Yeah, well, they're small, so I'll eat 3 of them.
So you'll have basically you'll have had 5 sandwiches today.
I had a cheesesteak. And
Half a brisket.
this ham and brisket is coming home with me.
Dude, so good.
Yeah, so yeah.
Don't get
This-
old.
Joey, I'm a sandwich guy.
What? We'll get over.
It's been sitting there for
I don't give a fuck.
No.
Unbelievable.
No, don't get old.
It's
Don't get old.
unbelievable.
This is my own bias against myself. You know.
So there's so much more to tell about the Knicks. Like, we got to get into Uncle Gussie.
Let's get into Uncle Gussie.
Uncle Gussie was.
We'll wrap it up. And we'll keep doing it.
Uncle Gus is my father's uncle, my grandmother's brother, and he was retired. But then once he retired, he worked for my dad.
Bachelor.
He was your. Go ahead. What do
He
you
was
got?
just, again, just salt of the earth. You could not love him.
1920s, 1930s generation guy.
Had these big, thick glasses. They got thicker and thicker every year.
It's that great generation.
I love that.
They're all, does it ever make you sad that like your kids will know
Yeah.
nobody from that generation? They'll know that no one that fought in the Second World War. I mean, that generation was
And just the
special.
very, and just the
Did he work at the Knicks?
authentic.
Yeah, he worked for my dad. I'm sorry, I didn't complete that entire thing. He worked for my dad for, I don't know, 15 years, maybe, after when he was a furniture maker, and when he retired from that, upholsterer, and when he retired from that, we helped my dad out.
Just
Nice.
the nicest. Again, the theme is just the nicest man you could ever meet.
Yeah, I could tell you stories about him, but they wouldn't be appropriate. For the
He's a
world.
bachelor. He's great, just a great guy.
I love it. And is he still with us?
He's not.
No.
They're all gone. That generation's all
To
gone.
Gus.
Yeah, to go. Oh, you gotta fill that up over there. Hold on, you got. Hold
Drinking
on.
beer.
Hold on.
Yeah, whoa. Proper.
Tiny
That's it.
splash.
Boom. Boom. To Uncle Gus, to Tommy, to Seal.
To Danny.
No, not to me.
Samboners.
Samboners.
To the Samboners. We gotta have the golf match.
This guy keeps fucking flaking out on me.
You still playing golf?
Oh
I
God.
stake too. I played like
Where's your
10 holes in the
Don't
last.
you have it set up? Don't you have a simulator?
It's in my garage though.
Dude, why don't you put that here with that here?
We did.
No,
we
so
had
you-
it.
so
And then
you
I
can
shacked
start-
one under one of them TVs and Jared Allen. I did.
Yeah.
Because he moved the net. It was his fault.
I took lessons with my kids for a year.
I was going to ask you.
My older two boys.
I know you're not into sports as much as.
I'll play you, Joe.
Yeah. Do you play sports?
No.
Don't play sports either.
No.
Piano.
Joey
he's
just
like
makes fucking hoagies.
Listen, he's like fucking Pavarotti, not Pavarotti, Liberace on the piano. You got to hear him play the piano.
The straight version of Liberace. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
He can play.
Oh yeah.
Man, man.
That was my backup. I thought I was going to be a rock star, but it didn't work out. So the next is great.
We're still young.
Yeah.
44 years old. 43.
42. 42.
Shit, you're getting
42.
old, man.
Yeah.
Your birthday
You look
must be
good,
coming
though.
up.
Thanks. It's coming up.
Yeah,
July.
coming up. We're the same age. He's the same age as my wife.
I'm old.
Young.
Where'd you go to high school?
Haddonfield.
Haddonfield? Nice. Where'd you go to high school?
Washington Township High
Where everybody was high.
for a little while, and then I got thrown out. And I had to go.
You got thrown out?
Yeah. And no school would take me, so they put me in that Christian academy, and then they didn't.
This is going to be in the weed stuff. How did you become friends with Marcel? Since you were older classmen, what was the connection?
We all just hung out. I mean, she hung out. Your sister hung out with cool.
Who were the guys? Like Chris Williams?
Yeah, Chris Williams. They all ran with us because we were the older kids too. We all wound up.
So
in
Chris
the
Williams was my sister's age.
Yeah.
He's around?
Chris Williams?
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't heard about him. I thought you were talking about Chris White. Chris White.
Chris White.
Yeah. I mean, mostly everybody we hung out with is dead. Half the people we hung out with are dead.
Drugs.
Yeah, a lot of drugs.
Doesn't it suck?
That's another thing too. We're probably wrong about wanting to raise our kids back in the 80s, 90s versus now.
Yeah, but here's the thing. And here, I'm going to counter that. I'm going to argue.
Go ahead.
I'm going to argue
I'm
against
interested in this.
that. Well, no, just specifically because we were talking about drugs. Because this is everywhere. The fentanyl thing is everywhere. Yeah. I just heard on a podcast a story about two brothers that were lost because they ordered what's the stuff that for ADD that keeps you awake?
Adderall.
Adderall. They ordered Adderall online and it was fentanyl based and it killed both of them.
Jesus.
So at least in our time, not that you would want them to, but kids could experiment with white pills and white powders. You can't now, like you literally, the things that our parents would have warned us about, like, oh, you do drugs once and you're going to die, which really effectively was not true when we were young. It's like kind of true
Clearly.
now. Yeah.
We're still here.
It's true now. Like,
I know.
like, no, you can't experiment at all. Like, no, you can't try. You can't try Molly. You can't try Coke. You can't do these things. You can't ever experiment because it could be laced one time and literally you could be dead. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying. It's terrifying enough that they would experiment with drugs at all. Like we may or may not have, but the fact that it's also that on top of it.
Yeah. It's
horrifying.
scary.
It is.
It's really scary.
It is.
Ending on a positive note.
Yeah. Well, no, we don't have to end.
No, we don't have to end. There's too much to tell.
Yeah.
There's too much to tell.
I'm gonna edit some of this in and out.
How much editing do you do?
None. Samboners don't edit.
No.
We just let it rip.
Let's just let it go.
We just
I
let
like
it
it.
go.
I like.
No takes.
No, I see a lot of these guys.
We should do this whole thing again. That's it. This
No,
is
we can
this is all
do-
scrap.
No, we can do it. We can do it. But no, there's a lot of people that are out there reviewing shit that like have all those editing skills. Like Danny and I, we just
Who's got time for that shit?
Did you do both times on phone, or you did in person once?
We did one with Gargano here.
Gargano here, and then you did it on the. That was actually fun.
Going to get Jared's carrot permit.
That was fun. I said that to Colin. I said, I think it's better than the guest just comes in on their phone and like fucking shoots the shit.
If you wanted to do it, that was it. We were just
Yeah.
running
We're
around.
like, all right,
yeah.
That was it.
See,
Yeah.
again,
Little did I know that you were
jazz musician,
gun folk.
improvising.
So seriously,
That was fun.
Is that what is that your passion now? Is that a golf? You're shooting guns?
I have 4 ARs, a sniper rifle, 4 handguns, 5
You got
handguns
fuck-
now.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
Well, just
allowed
one at
to
a
carry.
time,
We're a cash business, man.
dude.
Jesus.
Him with the. I don't blame you at all.
Or, listen, my biggest listen. I never shot a gun in my life up until about 5 months ago, and then I saw some shit where people followed these people home who had a cash business and raided their house, and I'm thinking, the fuck am I going to do if somebody comes through my house with guns?
It's gonna happen.
So I went and got my carry permit. Went and got my permit in Jersey, and then I got my carry permit in Jersey, which then means All I got to do is show that carry permit to Pennsylvania, and they just give you a carry permit. And I told Jared too. Jared wanted one too, and I said we should really have guns in here. Listen, I'm not a gun monger. I hope to God I had a chance when the guy broke in. Jared asked me, "Did you have your gun?" I'm like, "Well, yeah." What was I going to do? Shoot the fucking guy in the back? Like, he robbed us already. What was I going to do? I never want to use it, but just know, if you're going to try to fuck with me at my house or in here, you know,
be prepared.
Yeah, we're ready. And I trained. Like, me and Jared trained with an ex-Navy SEAL who was a terrorist hunter.
Shit, do you have time for this?
I go every Tuesday.
But is there less desire now with like everything being credit? Like, is there less desire?
Who knows, dude? It's a crazy world out there.
It is.
You're not looking at. We're not talking about.
I mean, Philly's a fucking shithole.
No, I understand.
I love Philly, but I mean, the criminals are just running wild. Nobody's doing shit about it. We serve cops all the time, and they're at a loss. They're at a loss. They're like, yeah, we arrest bad guys, and they're fucking home eating dinner before we are. So we have no rights anymore. As honest citizens, we have no rights. None. They're taking everything away from us. What we do have a right to is to protect ourselves and our family.
Yeah. Oh,
so I'm taking advantage of that.
Oh,
you leave all that into?
I mean, whatever you guys
you
want.
You can leave it in.
I don't think he's got nothing to shame, man.
I don't know.
No, I mean, dude, you think back in the pandemic when we talked about before, like I was on business meetings where like I'd be talking to a guy, he's sitting there like shining his gun, like he's ready to fucking go. Somebody wants to fucking
I'm not ready to go. I mean, I'm not ready.
I know you're not. But
if it happens, like
this.
Here, I'll show you. Jared, yesterday, I bought a 12-gauge semi-automatic.
My father's always said, you don't want to get shot, don't break into my house.
But I'm in a different. But here's the thing, I'm in a different point in my life to where I can own guns now, because I don't let shit bother me anymore. If I let you in, you don't wave to me, I don't give a fuck anymore. If you cut me off, I really don't give a fuck anymore. It don't bother me. I don't lose my shit anymore. I really don't. But here.
Fix your feet.
This is Jared. We're in training yesterday.
Square yourself up.
And this guy's a terrorist hunter. And this is a 12-gauge semi-automatic AR. And here's Jared, all 110 pounds.
Oh, man.
And we're shooting high-velocity 30-millimeter slugs out of that thing.
This is in Jersey.
Yeah.
Dude,
come with us.
He can't even sit still.
What?
Oh.
But now you'll see his feet move.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And he quickly became addicted.
Oh, yeah. So he wouldn't take a Christmas bonus. Everybody took the Christmas bonus. Jared will not take a fucking Christmas bonus. And he's in charge. He won't take one.
Why? Is he against because he's Jewish?
No. No. Just because that's how he is. I get paid to do a job. That's my job.
Well, the Christmas bonus can be part of what you're paid of. Good for him. Good for him.
My point, exactly. Joey, I'll tell you a story right now. You'll love this. So anyway, I bought him a shitload of guns.
That's a hell of a gift.
He calls and the training to do it all too.
That's awesome.
So
that should work for you, Dan.
So he's got a nasty AR. Anyway, he calls me one night. He goes, "Hey, mind if I take home a red onion?" A red onion. Now, mind you, I probably have 1,000 pounds of onion.
Wait, like an actual red onion?
One red onion.
This. I thought this was like a saying, expression for type of.
So I have a thing for him. When I said, Jared, don't be fucking weird. Just take a fucking onion. You ain't gotta call me. And where's he at? Is he up there? His philosophy is, well, if I take an onion, then 30 other people are gonna think it's okay to take an onion, or take some meat, or take some cheese, and then before you know it, everybody's taking everything home. And I'm like, Jared, it's a fucking onion. So
his philosophy is correct, though.
Listen, I love the kid. I do. I love the kid. So our meat and cheese bill used to be all cash. We would pay it in cash, and it was quite a bill. And Jared would say, I'm taking X amount of money out of the safe, and I'm going to pay the meat and cheese bill. And then the next day I would come in, and Joe, literally, there'd be 7 cents sitting on my desk.
Honest is honest, dude.
And I'd say, he'd say the meat bill was XXXXX and 97 or 93 cents. That's your 7 cents. And I went, Jared, come on, don't be fucking ridiculous. And he's like, it's not my money, man. I'm not touching it. So he is.
I gotta admit. I mean, because this is where we started, of course, but like, I don't miss cash. We're like 90% credit cards.
Do you add the convenience fee on top?
No,
Really?
no, because I don't believe in it.
I don't understand the places that
It pisses me
still
off.
just do cash only.
Danny's cash
I'm
on.
cash only.
Are you?
We don't take credit cards.
Oh God, I did not realize
Oh,
that.
yeah.
No
No,
wonder
you
you're
don't-
carrying.
you're not in here.
See, that's
No
why.
wonder you're carrying.
Yes,
Right.
yes. Now you're putting it
Right,
together.
that's my point.
Yeah, but Dan, I gotta put stuff in the bank anyway. Now it's just like everything's electronic.
Joey, if you want 3% of my business, I'll happily give it to whoever wants and put her on a fucking apron and stand side by side with me for 12, 13, 14 hours a day. I'll give you a 3% cut of my business. I am not paying 3% for the. And I hate banks. I fucking hate banks and I hate insurance companies. And any way I cannot fucking pay them, I'm gone.
You know what Groucho Marx said about principles?
No.
He
Talk
said
about Yelp. I'm just kidding.
Yelp.
Uh-huh.
Groucho Marx said, "All I have are my principles, but if you don't like those, I've got others." So for me, like I hear what you're saying about like the taking the percentage. Who are you to take the percentage? But like my thought process is this can go back a little bit to like what you were saying about I don't give a shit. You don't give a shit about the guy that cuts you off. Like I don't know what makes my life easier, and for me, it's just easier like not to like have to count money.
That's Jack. That's why I got Jack.
This is all comes back to
Listen,
Jared.
I have nothing to do with money. And you'll say it. Jared will have this has to go home to your wife. This is going to this, and I have nothing to do with my wife. Don't even talk to me anymore. She'll text Jared what she needs, what to bring home, what check. Bing, bang, boom. Jared has it nicely for me. I just take it and I bring it home to my wife. That's it.
Make everybody happy.
That's it. And for me, it's not about it is about the money, but it's about the principle of fuck the banks. I hate banks. I hate insurance. That's why I hate Warren Buffett. Fuck him, that scam. I could have been a billionaire too if I fucking sold insurance and collected premiums and then didn't pay out on valid claims when a fucking place catches on fire and you fucking make them starve and beg for money that they had coverage for.
But you didn't do it.
I didn't do
You're
it.
salt of the earth.
I fucking threw Pepsi right out of here and got Coke because he's one of the biggest.
Why'd
shit.
you throw Pepsi out?
I mean, I threw Coke out of here.
Do you have Pepsi?
Yeah, because of Warren Buffett. Because he's a big shareholder in Coke. Listen, I can hold the fuck.
Did you tell them?
Oh, I told him too.
But
Fuck Berkshire Hathaway.
yeah, but they're like Coke. They're like what's it called? They're like a local branch. They have nothing to do with Atlantic Coke.
It don't matter. It don't matter. It's the principle of it.
You think whatever the dirt?
Now, again, they're going back to all that stuff that I said where I don't lose my temper. It's a principle on that because he's full of shit. He's full of shit. I can become a billionaire. Listen, I can become a billionaire if I sold you pizza and cheesesteaks before you got them, and then you paid me for them in advance, and then when you came to pick them up, I'm like, no, I'm not serving you. Fuck yeah, I just made all that money. Anybody could be a millionaire, right? What a business model.
Yeah. No argument there.
He plays that whole Elmer Fudd kind of folksy guy. He still lives in that same house. Yeah, he lives in that same house.
Still driving a pickup truck.
Because he's selling insurance and then not paying people.
Why is the medical marijuana business run under cash operation too?
Because it's federally illegal.
And then like they get to a certain point where they have
Is that
to.
why?
Yeah.
They get to a point
You
where
can't
they
put
have
it in
to. They get enough. I watched a documentary about this where like they get to a certain like $3,800 threshold where they have to like grab that $3,800. They have to take it to the bank and then they start over.
No, they can't put it in a bank.
Or
They can't put that money in a bank. It's federal. Selling marijuana is federally illegal. So you can't put it in the Federal Reserve. It's still illegal.
how the dispensary's operating at this point.
They're collecting cash.
And then what?
They have armed security guards taking it out.
Put it in a local bank.
Local banks.
Presumably.
They have to store it somewhere.
I don't know.
And I think they get to a point where it has to be stored where they can start to generate again.
Well, let me tell you.
Pay your
been
bill
to the
with cash.
dispensary?
No.
Whew. I had no idea.
What?
So he goes to dispensaries all the time. So I went to the one in Deptford.
Deptford, not yet.
I go and it looks like a methadone clinic. The line out there,
Yeah.
And then you go in, Joey. It's like a CVS for pot. It's like professional.
for pot.
Yeah, it's like it's just beautiful.
Oh,
like I thought it'd be some
well-oiled
dude behind the
machine.
counter with dreads, kind of smoking weed.
No. No, my
It's
wife,
a whole operation.
It is.
My wife's got a card
Oil,
for
too.
anxiety, and she went into one of these places in Ardmore, and they like the first time she went in, and she has no idea. She never smoked pot. Doesn't like drugs. She's not a pothead. Doesn't whatever. She gets in there, and they're like, oh, so like you speak to. Well, I mean, she's got experience now, and she's like, and then like they set her up with like an expert in the store,
Oh,
like
yeah.
this guy, like, but he was like a psychiatrist or something legitimate, some type of formal education, and like he talked to her about like what he's looking. She's
It was
looking
not
for,
what I thought.
you know. No,
I thought it was going to be some 18-year-old pothead selling me weed. It was the farthest.
did you like it? The experience?
Yeah, I kind of liked it. Yeah, I did.
Convenient.
I did because I was like, listen, I
Can you
don't like
imagine
that
if
stuff
it was
that
all
makes.
if it's all drugs? You should
No.
like,
Wow. Well, mushrooms. Me and Joe, we were
Mushrooms.
That's
we
the
were
next thing.
contemplating tripping
next
for
thing.
this, but then we
no. Danny was contemplating tripping for this.
Oh, I'm just saying that's the next thing where mushrooms come in to the point where
Is
they're a dispensary. They're part of the dispensary.
Mushrooms should not be illegal.
No, they should
Might
not
not.
be illegal.
Not even close.
Everybody should do mushrooms once in their life.
The world would be a far more
Well, I
peaceful
think
place.
yeah,
if everybody did mushrooms
microdosing is a
once.
phenomenon right now. College kids are thriving off that concept.
Listen, it opened me up, man. I thought it was.
Wait, you didn't do that stuff when you were younger?
Well, I did acid.
No. Oh, okay. Well, it's the same.
Yeah, the mushrooms is more from the earth. I feel more comfortable.
Yeah.
It is. I've seen acid really fuck people
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bad hit.
Yeah.
True. You
You
have
know,
you
yeah.
have a very, very bad mushroom trip, though. Very bad.
That
Really?
you can.
Yes.
You
So
can.
I just went out to Maine with them guys, and I didn't know, like in the rural north of Maine, pretty much everybody just grows their own mushrooms and carries them around in Ziplocs and just eats them. So I was just eating them. I mean, I had the most wonderful time. We stayed in a cabin in the woods. As soon as my wife and kids were coming, I booked the trip, and she looked at the thing, and she's like, "Yo, there ain't no fucking toilet." I'm like, "What do you mean there ain't no toilet?" She's like, "There ain't even electricity. We ain't going."
You're camping.
Well, I didn't know. I thought it was glamping. I didn't know it was camping.
I only glam for the record.
Yeah, I'm not even outdoorsy. And man, I rode a rowboat out this. I mean, Maine is beautiful. Have you been to Maine?
No.
My God. So Britton, our friend, his buddy. So we go to this beautiful mansion. And not a mansion, but he lives on this peninsula in northern Maine with all lobster boats around, and they're lifting up rocks right out in his backyard. They're pulling lobsters right out there, just growing them. And he's got Mustangs running around. I'm like, man, this fucking dude. He's like, yeah, I'm retired. I'm like, retired? How old are you? He's like, 48. I said, what do you mean, were you a fucking cop? Because, you know, cops retire.
Next question. What did he do?
He goes, no. He said, you know the straw with the bendable thing?
Yeah.
And I said, well, of course I do. He said, my father-in-law invented that. I'm like, you motherfucker. You motherfucker. So it was, and he had mushroom fields, and that's all these people do. It's just.
Do you want to retire?
No. I couldn't see what I would be doing with that. I don't know.
You want to retire?
I don't think my dad's 70. He's not retired, and I don't think he has any plans. I mean,
What's he do?
he sells home medical equipment, but at the same time, like, he's always on the move, man. We're type A.
You want to
I
retire?
can't sit still.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in the same boat you are. Remember what you told me? That always resonates with me.
Remind me what I told
Whoever's going to buy your business can't afford to buy your business. So
Yeah.
you're stuck with your business for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm at too.
Yeah.
Because corporation ain't going to buy one business, one standalone business. And the guy who wants to come in and run your business ain't got the money to buy your business.
Yeah, and if you had enough money, you wouldn't want to buy my business.
Right. So
I would
I'm kinda locked
I
into
would
this.
love to one day be like the announcer for the Philadelphia Phillies.
oh shit, you're shooting for the stars.
And that wouldn't be retirement. That would be just
That's a small
living
pool of
the
people.
goddamn dream. Like
Yeah.
just sitting there, yucking it up with your sidekick and calling the game.
I'm in.
Yeah, right? Like that would be amazing.
I mean, retirement for me, I don't know what it would look like, but it would be like a lot of golf. Like I picture drop my kids off at school, playing 2 rounds of golf.
No, your kids are going to be grown, Dan.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. Then retirement to me looks like a lot of golf.
I got a text right here. I got a text just came in. Doesn't make any sense, but it says, please be sure to remind Joey DiNic the time your buddy picked up 12 sandwiches to drop off to Willie Nelson 2 years in a row. Jason Barnes, Haddonfield. No?
What is this? Did you put this live or something?
Nothing's live.
Oh.
No, he just texted me. Oh, earlier. He might have known that I was coming down here to hang out with you.
What's his name?
Jason Barnes, Fat Jesus.
Fat Jesus.
Please be sure to remind Joey DiNic that the time your buddy picked up 12 sandwiches to drop off to Willie Nelson 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
I forgot to.
And I never sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mick the Samboner,
Yo, Dan.
the beautiful Joey Nicolosi, DiNic's writing term.
Oh, he's back on the gram.
Man.
He's
Well,
back
I put
on
some
the
on
gram.
And
Yesterday you weren't on the gram.
Yeah, well, he had to drink.
we opened a nice bottle of scotch for these gentlemen here.
Here he
Check
is.
out the Samboner's podcast about DiNic's, a staple in Philadelphia, and a handsome young man at that.
There he is.
Old.
You know Jason?
How you doing?
Hey, Jason.
What'd you get? An eye doctor?
I think the scotch got me. I think I'm a little bit
Is that a
tipsy.
concussion?
I am. I feel good.
Oh, no.
You got any extra mushrooms here?
I don't have them here. I don't have them. I
Well,
got candy bars too.
I'm sitting here with Joey DiNic, and I'm reading your text,
What's
and
Seth texted me.
you don't
before
understand what you're
go talk to
saying.
Jared's brother Seth, he wants to talk to you about something. He gets mega chocolate bars.
Seth wants to talk to me?
Yeah.
He gets chocolate bars?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the mushroom.
he went to your
chocolate bars.
spot to pick up sandwiches for Willie Nelson.
I remember this.
You remember this?
Yes, I do, because he said, I'm going to see this. I'm taking these to Willie Nelson. And I said, I didn't know if he was full of shit or not.
No, totally not full of shit. I delivered him to him, had a bite of a sandwich with him.
So Willie Nelson had one of my sandwiches?
Absolutely.
That's pretty amazing.
I can't see, Mick.
I know. I'm not catching the other side of it. That's okay. Are you okay?
Only in one
He's
year,
all
but
red.
the second year, I don't know if he hit
Fell
it.
off a fucking
Well,
ladder.
I'll take
Oh,
1 year.
the
I'll take
ladder.
1 year.
Oh,
Jason Barnes.
what'd you do?
That's Fat Jesus right there.
He fell off a ladder.
How'd he fall off the ladder?
What happened, dude?
I fell off my ladder. I don't even know, man. I fell off the ladder. Next thing I know, I was in the hospital. Now I can't see, but they tell me it's normal.
Oh, shit.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I know, it's brutal.
All right.
Well,
You can't see anything? You can't see anything?
I can see. It's like everything's like,
I can't see
I
shit.
can't see shit.
Listen, if you ever have to bring sandwiches
Oh,
to
there we
Willie
go.
Nelson again, they're on me.
Yeah, say what's up. There's Danny right there. It's
I thought you couldn't see.
Jason Barnes.
We were showing no video.
Joey
There's
DiNic
no
right
video.
there. You
What's
called-
up, bud?
Oh, he couldn't
All
see.
right,
There was
sir.
no video. I thought even
He
couldn't
remembers,
see.
man. He remembers.
Oh, shit.
Danny, I was up there with Brad Spence. Brad's a good buddy of mine.
Brad Spence.
Oh,
It's a
yeah.
Haddonfield guy.
Yeah.
Haddonfield guy.
How's Spency doing, all right?
He's doing okay. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks.
Tell him I was asking for him.
Is he still with Veteran?
So I certainly
No, I don't think so. I have. No, hold on. Stay right there. Huh. How about that? Is this serendipitous or what? That's a Brad Spence original right there.
look, I got one hanging in my room here. Look.
I'll tell you the funniest Brad Spence story you'll ever hear. You ready
Go
for
ahead.
this one?
Here we go.
So, wait a minute. So, we had just opened Haddonfield. I'm down the shore, and Drew DeTomo, Brad's sous chef, Spence reaches out to I met Spence in Haddonfield. He was in the shop, and I was like, "Oh my God, Brad Spence is here!" It was a big deal for me, and we become friends. Talk, and they wanted us to do a pop-up industry night at Amis. So I'm like, "All right, love
I
to."
remember this.
So you know my rule about smoking pot in public. I don't do it. So we get there. My wife couldn't come. So my mother-in-law comes with me. Now, I had never met Gregorio's wife yet. My buddy Gregorio. So Brad meets me in the kitchen. He's like, "Hey, come on, let's go smoke." And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't do well with smoking in public." He's like, "Oh, come on, one hit." So I'm like, "All right." So we walk around the block and we smoke this whole, before I realize it, we smoked this whole fucking joint. I go down and I sit down with my mother-in-law. I'm like, Mom, you got to help me out. She's why? I said, I'm so fucking high. She's like, well, just do shots to equal it out. This is my mother-in-law.
Not good advice.
Listen,
not good advice.
I can't mention other advice my mother-in-law has given me, but like most son-in-laws get like an apple pie recipe. That's not what I get, right? So my mother-in-law, I slammed him. I love my mother-in-law to death, best mother-in-law in the world. So we're slamming shots now, right? So she's looking over at the table, and there's Gregorio. So she goes, why don't you go say hi to him? And I'm like, ooh, I'd have to get up and walk. Now, we did Stromboli, so I was going to have to give a speech about Stromboli. So I'm shitting myself. I go over, I see Gregorio, he's Italian, we hug and kiss, and I go to give who I think is his wife a kiss. And, she practically blew like a rape whistle. She pushed me away, and I'm like, yo, what's up with your wife? And Gregorio's like, my wife? I don't know who the fuck that lady is. So I'm like, oh my God. So I tell the lady, I'm like, lady, I am so sorry. I thought you were his wife, and it's customary to tell you in the kiss. And she was like furious. So my mother-in-law is cracking up as I'm walking back over. And she's like, why was Gregorio's wife so mean to you? She like pushed you. And I'm like, it's not his wife. She starts losing it. It was a whole thing. I was bummed. That's the night I met Mikey Pancakes and Protein Shakes. Because I told him, dude, I'm so high. You got to help me through this. And he helped me through that.
Shit is Mikey Pancakes.
Pancakes and Protein Shakes, baby.
What is this?
To Mikey.
Mikey,
fill up your glasses.
We haven't hung out yet.
A little bit.
Who's Mikey Pancakes?
Pancakes and Protein Shakes.
What is Pancakes and Protein Shakes?
He does a lot of work for the small business.
Yeah, he's a big food blogger kind of thing.
Margie, get better, brother.
Mikey community. He's a good
Cheers.
Dude.
Good luck. Feel better.
Feel better.
You too, man.
Wait, he can't see out of his eyes, or he couldn't see out of your video.
It's not clear.
All right, we don't know yet. Leave it alone.
That's not clear.
Jack. What's he doing?
Who?
Dude, I should have told him to come, Mike.
You should have told him.
Pop in.
Everybody's welcome. Let's do it again.
We will.
This should be like a weekly event. State of the Union.
You're getting tipsy. That's all that's happening right
I'm not tipsy though.
No,
I'm buzzing.
No, that's funny. We should do
What are you doing? Tell them about your
we're all too busy for that.
What?
A weekly thing.
No,
we should do it
like
once a
2
month.
or 3.
We should do it
This is
once a month.
actually a good time. When you said, I thought you were going to be a night owl. And I am kind of a night owl. But when you said 2 o'clock,
I was sweating. I
got
sweating.
6:30 practice. Like
I was sweating the notion of coming late.
Intramural championships are coming up.
I gotta come back to Philly at night.
There's so much more to tell about that, though.
No,
I mean, there really is. It got sidetracked a little
we
bit
opened
with
up.
the
We opened
scotch.
up.
But this ain't bad scotch, is it?
No, it's very smooth. Very, very.
Are you a peaty guy? Because this ain't real peaty. I
I'm
like
a peaty
that.
guy. I like the eye lace.
Ooh, got me.
Lagavulin, Lefroy.
Oh.
Let's cap it off.
15-year-old Lefroy.
To Jared.
To Jared.
To Jared.
Thank you, guys.
Jared, your brother's a great guy too. Dave's a great
Fun
guy.
time.
That's great too.
Seth is,
No, trust me, Seth is great. He is. I mean,
I
he's
don't know Seth
crazier
as well.
than a shithouse rat.
I know Dave very well.
I know both of them very
I know
well.
Dave the most by far.
Seth's good people.
Is that it? We're done.
We're done?
End it.
Keep
I
going.
think we're done. I think we're playing insider baseball now.
More to come.
More to come.
Mordecai.
Pop that Sambone, and baby, it's on.